morning, good morning. It's day 5 of my 30-day I Want to Be an Author challenge. Yippee! Now, day 5, it means the question for today is why tell your story? Now, I've spent the last half to 3/4 of an hour thinking about what I can tell you about why to write your story. And the best answer I can come up with is that nobody knows your story better than you. To illustrate my answer, I've recently, like this week, been binge watching a program on Netflix. Yes, I'm a crazy TV person, and it was a limited series on the Andy Warhol diaries. And it was interesting to watch. It was fantastic. It was really interesting. And when they showed the diary, the actual book, and you can buy the book, the diary entries were like little paragraphs for this happened on this day and that happened on that day. And when they spoke to people about Andy Warhol, and he's been dead quite a few years now, somebody actually said, but there's whole chunks missing. And the other thing that struck me was, how can you summarize something so important in a few lines of a paragraph? How can somebody else interpret what an event, an occasion meant to you? Only you can do that. And something I keep saying to everybody, like a broken record, is that everybody has a story. You don't have to be an Andy Warhol to tell your story to the world. There are plenty of ordinary people who tell their stories and make a huge difference. And that's what it's about. It's about making a difference. I've worked with well over 100 people now to tell their stories, whether it's a book or whether it's in a book chapter. And in telling their stories, particularly in the book chapters, they focus on one major event. And in telling their stories, for example, they talk about a simple event that really changed their lives. Let me just start again. I have edited stories about women who have been high-flying corporate managers who have had unbelievably successful careers. And then they've happened to have a chat with somebody in the office about a craft that they saw that person doing. And this craft has captured their imagination, and they've left their high-flying corporate job to become a craftsperson in this particular craft. They've become hugely successful in this craft, but they have learned so much about life and about themselves through doing that. By writing their story, they've been able to share their learnings about what it's like to be a high-flying corporate manager and what it's like to take that risk of, I'm leaving this job that has all this status and all this money to go into something that I don't know whether it's going to be successful. By sharing your story, it does lots of things, but most of all, it gives you the opportunity to tell the truth about your story. It gives you the opportunity to make a difference, perhaps, in somebody else's life. Somebody else might be sitting on the edge of will I, won't I, will I, won't I, and then they see your story and go, she did it, or he did it. If they did it, why can't I do it? One of the beautiful things about telling your story is that it takes the burden of your story off your shoulders. Once you tell your story, you are free. It is out there, and you don't have to hide it and be ashamed or think that it's wrong. Everything can be told. It's wonderful. Everything. Anything that makes a difference to you, there's a chance that it'll make a difference to somebody else. What a wonderful legacy to leave. as usual, I'm going to say to you, let's make 2022 the year of writing your book. Let's get started now. Contact me and we'll have a obligation-free chat to see what you want to write about, how you're going to do it, and when we can get started. I'm so excited. I love hearing people's stories. They're so fantastic, and every story is unique. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk more. See you then.